Okay, so what we're going to learn with this video is how to set up a WordPress account, which automatically sets you up with a WordPress website. Now, before you do any of this, what you want to do is prep for the account making. The three things you want to do is to first figure out the WordPress site's address. That is, if you can, think about what you'd like to do with that site. If you think that the site that you're going to make with WordPress is going to be about a subject, in this case, we have an example of a website about fancy socks, then you'd probably want to see if the fancy socks name is available, and you'll see how to do that in the next couple of steps, so that you can utilize that terminology in your website address. And that's helpful because the keywords of fancy socks is definitely going to help Google position your blog under searches that are specifically to socks. In addition, you have the opportunity to just name your site your name. So if that is something you'd like to do because the blog site that you want to set up is about your thoughts and your feelings, and you want to just have it searchable by your name, that too is an option. But what you want to do is think about this and settle on it initially. Technically, you can make additional sites beyond the one you set up with when you make your account, but definitely see if there's a way for you to create a decent tell-all address in advance of setting up your WordPress account. An example of not a recommended address is something like a mix of letters and numbers. This type of address on a WordPress site is not that helpful for Google, and certainly not helpful for anyone who's accessing your site. Okay, so in addition to your web address, that would be a keyword-rich web address along with the WordPress.com suffix. You also want to create a very challenged password so that no hackers can get into it. WordPress will help you. It'll tell you whether what you've come up with as a mix of uppercase and lowercase and characters and numbers is strong or not. But what you want to do is write this down in advance so that you don't all of a sudden create it on the fly and realize you have no copy of it. So definitely want to do this in advance too. And then lastly, you want to figure out which of your email accounts should be something that which of your email accounts is the account that you want to receive information from WordPress about. So consider setting this up or having this open in advance so that when you do set up your account, you can access your email and quickly confirm the account setup. Okay, so what we're going to do is go online. And in your browser, what you want to do is go to WordPress.com. Now, I want you to just make sure that you're at the .com site, not .org. There actually are two WordPresses. They're both the same company. .org is a completely different segment. Instead, .com is what's called a self-hosted site, and it's from this entry screen in this particular version of WordPress that offers free websites and accounts utilizing the WordPress structure. So let's go through the steps. So when you've arrived at WordPress.com, you're going to come to this initial Create Your Site Today screen, and it's going to give you a nice blank field to fill in. So in my case, I'm going to go ahead and show what it's like to create a keyword-rich website. So I'm going to go ahead and type in fancy socks. And by the way, go ahead and use only lowercase, and you're only allowed to use lowercase and numbers. You don't use any kind of hyphenation, no periods, just the words. Now what you're going to see right here is that somebody has already claimed fancy socks as a prefix domain name to the WordPress.com domain. So that gives you the heads up that somebody out there, and there are millions and millions of WordPress sites already out there. So what you want to do is come up, if you really feel strongly you want to make a WordPress site with fancy socks or whatever your site address might be, the keywords that you're using, go ahead and see if there's a way to modify this so it works for you. So I'm going to add the fancy socks, and that's actually available, and I know that's available because I get a little green check mark and not a little red band. So the fancy socks.wordpress.com kind of doesn't make sense, so I'm going to go ahead and just add the word site. So the fancy socks site is what I'm going to go with. All right, I'm going to go ahead and click on create your site and continue. Now they're accepting the setup that I've created, and what we're going to do now is give additional information. So here is the email address that I am going to use. At Gmail. Okay. And I'm going to type in, I'm going to create the username they bring from your actual email address. So I'm going to accept that because I can modify that later. And then the password, I've gone ahead and created a uppercase and lowercase rich there we go, password. And you notice that there was some information given over from WordPress saying this is not strong enough. Well, I wasn't done yet. So once I'm done, I got the nice green check saying that that's a nice advanced password. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the next step. So this third screen is now WordPress basically asking you if you want to go ahead and get the address that you've made into an actual domain name that doesn't carry the WordPress suffix. These are cost or upgrades that you would pay for, and what I would say at this stage, at screen number 3, is just skip all this and go to no thanks. We're just going to click on no thanks. Just bear in mind though, down the pike you will be able to upgrade later, so don't worry about doing this at this stage. All right, no thanks. Now, all WordPress sites must have a theme associated with it, and WordPress actually offers over 300 themes at this point. They don't give you any specific search capability, so I'm just going to suggest at this point that you select any of the top 3. Let's go ahead and select Eden. Now what I'm going to have you do is switch the Eden theme to what's called Motif, M-O-T-I-F, and you'll see me do that. This is so that all students of this WordPress seminar will actually work off of the same theme, so we all get used to it, and then eventually by about week 4 or 5 we'll be able to switch that to another theme. Okay, the next screen, which plan would you like to use? You do have plans available to you, and we'll talk later about this in class. But at this stage, what I want you to do is just go ahead and click on Select Free. And what you'll notice is once you've done all of those previous steps, you now have this Please Verify Your Email Address. So my email address is stated right there, and if you notice, you'll notice that I have a tab open that's accessing my email address that I used for creating the account. And you'll notice the WordPress activate this. I'm going to click on it and confirm the email. So I suggest you open that tab before you create the account, so you actually are set up fairly quickly to confirm your account. Okay, so here is the confirmation screen. It pretty much sets you up to make your first blog post. What I'm going to do is have you stop right about here and go ahead and watch the next video to know what to do at this stage.